This is the Power Platform Daily Brief for Wednesday, May 15th, 2019. I'm Joel Lindstrom, and this is what you need to know about the Power Platform today in 10 minutes or less. In today's podcast, first I wanted to highlight something new or newish that you might not have noticed before. And I believe this showed up sometime in April, and that is the Solution Layers button. So when you go in the classic Solution Explorer and open up a solution and you look at the components or you see the dependency dialog, you'll see a button that's called Solution Layers now. Here's what this means. So when you have managed solutions in your environment, they layer on top of each other. So a solution you import second may change some properties about, say, the account entity. And so sometimes you can get solution layering issues where changes get mixed in or there's conflicts, and it's hard to figure out where that change happened or where the conflict is coming from. So the solution layer button can be helpful in troubleshooting that. So if you select a component in the solution manager and hit solution layers, you'll see all the different solutions and the order in ascending order, 1 to 2 to 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12. And so you can then click on each one and see what each layer is changing about that selected component. So very useful in troubleshooting and educational as well to look and see if you want to know what does a certain solution change about, say, one of your core entities. This gives you a good way to troubleshoot that and to troubleshoot those conflicts and issues you might come across with your solutions. Next, I wanted to dig into a little bit more about Microsoft Learn. If you haven't been to Microsoft Learn, you really should check it out. They've really added a lot more content to it. One thing I find is sometimes it's not obvious where things are, because when you first go there, and I'll put a link in the show notes on how to get there, there's some nice learning paths that are role specific, but you might look and see, okay, there's not really that much here, but if you really look under the covers, you'll find a lot more information. I'll highlight one product in specific. Marketing. Dynamics 365 for Marketing is a product that is growing in popularity. We have several customers who have implemented it or are in the process of implementing it. And one thing I've found is Microsoft Learn has some really good educational content about Dynamics 365 for Marketing. But if you just search for marketing, you might not find it. What you'll want to do is go to the Browse All menu, and then you can filter by products. Under Dynamics 365, you'll find marketing. And then rather than just finding the getting started content, you'll find advanced configuration, Dynamics 365 for Marketing, which is basically a high level overview. But the one that you want to look for is a 3.5 hour course called Working with Dynamics 365 for Marketing. It's got some great videos, some of the contents. Then there's marketing to leads and contacts in Dynamics 365 for Marketing, assessing leads in Dynamics 365 for Marketing, lead lifecycle. So there's a lot of different courses in here, but specifically the one Working with Dynamics 365 for Marketing is one I would start with, because it covers kind of soup to nuts how to set up segments, how to use the email template designer, what pieces need to be in an email template for the mail to send out, events. So again, you can spend a day or two in there with all the marketing content, and especially if you have it in your environment and you play along with it, that's the best way to learn it. Another thing on the Dynamics 365 for Marketing, as I mentioned, we've recently helped several clients deploy it. One thing that's maybe a little bit confusing is the licensing for D365 for Marketing. And I don't claim to be a licensing expert, but yesterday on CRM Tip of the Day, I wrote a tip about how some clients have received a free marketing app from Microsoft. And so they deploy it in their dev environment, and then they find they have problems moving their configuration because they don't yet have marketing in their sandbox or production environment. What you need to understand is Dynamics 365 for marketing is licensed differently than other applications in the Dynamics family. It's licensed based on the number of contacts actively marketed to. So all users are licensed for it, but if you're going to be sending marketing emails to 5,000 contacts, you need to be licensed for 5,000 contacts. Now, it doesn't count contacts you don't send anything to. It's got an actual counter in the settings, and it's priced similarly to a lot of other marketing applications. The problem comes in where people don't have it in their sandboxes and they put it in their dev environment, because you will get dependencies on certain quantities such as user and appointment. And then when you try and move the solutions, especially unmanaged solutions, you'll find that they may fail because there's dependencies on customer journey or segment or other entities. So my recommendation is, if you get the free marketing application from Microsoft as part of your license, don't install it in your primary dev environment, because if you do that, then you may have dependencies, especially if you don't want to pay to license your other environments. And realistically, marketing has very little configuration involved. Most of it is setting up customer journeys and segments and other things like that. Very little configuration of entities is done. It's more creating of data. So just be smart about that and don't get stuck with some dependencies. In the tip of the day, I published a few suggestions. One of the suggestions was consider using managed solutions. Not everybody wants to do that. I understand the reasons why not, but that is one way to get around it as well. Or be prepared to spend some time manually removing the dependencies. So taking a look at some of the other courses that are now available, again, Microsoft has been adding a lot of information about there. There are now 18 different modules available for field service, for example. Some are an hour long to 2 hours long, but again, something you could probably spend several hours to a couple days with. There's a 5-hour, 56-minute session on connected field service. There are now 17 different modules on sales, everything from work with Dynamics 365 to goal management to response routing and survey scoring and voice of the customer and analyzing your data and embedded intelligence and sales AI. So Microsoft Learn is a very good resource. And if you've been to the Dynamics community site, community.dynamics.com lately, to visit the forums or other blogs there, you may have recently had some login issues. Part of that is because they've recently enabled login for Azure AD accounts for single sign-on. And so the problem comes in is if you're using a personal Microsoft account, if your browser is logged into your work or student account, it may try and log you in with that account. If you want to switch to your Azure account, there's a process there where you can link it to your work or school account. But if you want to keep it as your personal account, what I found is you might have to shut your browser or open up another browser session or an in-private browser session. So again, I haven't had any problems using it. Occasionally I will get the page where having trouble signing you in. In that case, I typically open up a new browser or an in-private session. I may choose to link it to my Azure AD account down the road. I haven't decided yet or not. But in case you're having trouble logging in, that's what's going on. This has been the Power Platform Daily Brief for Wednesday, May 15th, 2019. Now you're up to date.